Hey, what's up, black people? What's going on? I hope you guys are having a good day. I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins from Your Black World, and I am reporting to you from New Orleans. I hope you guys can see me okay. Let me know if you can see me and hear me okay. I wanted to go live today to talk to you guys. We're in the middle of the Weekend Wealth Summit, and in the Weekend Wealth Summit, we are spending 2 days with ambitious black people who want to build wealth for their families, who want to become economically secure and strong, who want to find a way to make a way to get ahead, who want to build for the next generation. So if that is you, if you're one of those people and that's the way you think, then say something in the chat to let me know you're a wealth builder. Say, yes, I'm a wealth builder. So give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second. Hold on. Okay, all right. So here's what I wanted to talk about. I was thinking today I was talking to people here at the Weekend Wealth Summit, and we were talking about, where wealth comes from, where money comes from, why there are some people, in our community who don't understand the nature of money and the nature of economic opportunity. There are a lot of people who I think are misled by, what wealth looks like, how to get it, how to obtain it, what it means to be a wealth builder, things like that. And we started talking about some of what we see in terms of media and media images and what we see as children. Wealth and culture are very, very deeply connected. If you don't understand culture and how culture affects choices, then you'll never understand wealth. Wealth is all about culture. Wealth is all about family. Wealth is all about relationships. That's why with Boyce Watkins films, we make films that some people don't understand. We make films like The Black Love Blueprint because one thing we figured out is that, if you do not have the ability to, if you do not have the ability to form healthy relationships, then you will never have the ability to build wealth. You'll never have the ability to build wealth. Now, here's the thing about wealth. One of the things that I can tell you is that I study a lot of different communities. So, I study what Jewish communities do, what Nigerians do. I study what white folks do. I study what Asians do. And one of the things that I have found is that there are lots of principles that occur within family that a lot of you may or may not be aware of that have a great impact on your ability to build wealth. A lot of us want to believe that black wealth is affected only by racism and that racism is the number one reason why we don't have a lot of wealth. Well, one thing I can just tell you, and you've probably heard this, and I'm just going to confirm this for you. If they wrote you a big reparations check tomorrow, if they wrote, out a check for, I don't know, $500 billion in reparations, a lot of that money would disappear very quickly because you have bad economic habits in which unfortunately, you have a lot of folks that are going to give that money away very, very fast. Now, where does that come from? Well, some of that comes from not just the culture that you're raised in and culture that you get in terms of media in the educational system, but also culture that you might get from your music. And this leads me to want to talk about rappers a little bit. Not that we're bad people. This is not blaming the rappers. This is not anti-hip hop at all. This is very much pro hip hop in the sense that I think that if you are pro hip hop, and then you know the power of hip hop, you know the power of understanding how music. So, and in fact, actually, I was really excited when we got when I was able to get. I didn't talk him into it. Scratch that. He asked me about it, but I was able to facilitate Dr. Claude Anderson going on the Breakfast Club. Shout out to Charlemagne. He was he called me and I said absolutely I would love to have him on. I think he'd be great. I can get you in touch because that to me was a game changer in terms of turning the corner for black people and because powernomics and the understanding of what it means to be economically strong and stable and a little bit protectionist, just protectionist enough that people understand that you're serious, that's critically important for the next generation. That if you don't protect your wealth, then you won't have any wealth. And so, the idea that the Breakfast Club is a show that is, that brings forth a lot of rappers and a lot of people from the hip hop community. I love the fact that now that Dr. Anderson has gone on that show, and I think his video got 1.5 million views or something like that. I'm starting to see actually rappers reciting a lot of the Powernomics principles. You're hearing even people like Tiffany Haddish. I have to give a shout out to Tiffany. You guys know I've critiqued Tiffany quite a bit But I have to give credit where it's due. If I'm going to give you credit when you do something right. And with Tiffany Haddish, her friends Tyler Perry and Kevin Hart and others about Powernomics ideas, which really that's extremely important because if Black folks can internalize from a community based spiritually, family wise, etc., psychologically, if we can internalize the principles of strong economics, then you're going to see a shift in the entire community. You're seeing a shift in the culture. You'll see people that will want to hold on to their money as opposed to give it away. You'll see people that want to grow their money as opposed to waste it. You'll see people, if you can hear me and see me, culture. Is a big part in I was speaking at the Weekend Wealth Summit is how you have the illusion of inclusion that basically says if you're Black and if you go to college and if you're well behaved, then white people will give you good jobs and you're going to live happily ever after. But actually, that isn't what happens for a lot of people. What happens is you go to college, you go deep in debt, giving them all your money, all your family wealth, and then they give you a little piece of paper that says, hey, we validated you. The white people at this school have validated you. Now you can go work for another white person and serve as his slave. Now we're going to pass you. You are our economic hoe, and now we're going to pass you on so you can be somebody else's economic hoe. Now that you've served us, we're going to pass you on so you can serve a new master that will compensate you a little bit better, but based on your skill set, right? So effectively, you end up still feeling like a slave. You don't feel free, you don't feel strong, you don't feel like you're economically in position to do the things you want to do. Well, a lot of times, the one issue I've noticed is that part of the reason that there's not an interest in sort of standardized economic training is because you've got so many images that you have to compete with. If you're in a position like me, you're seeing young brothers looking at the Forbes list, and the Forbes list will have every year, everybody sees this list because every year it's the same guys. Every year, the same people with the same wealth. Maybe their wealth grew last year. Your wealth didn't. Maybe their wealth got higher, but the community's wealth did not, right? Maybe they're doing a little bit better. Maybe instead of having 200 million in net worth, they have 300 million in net worth. But the question becomes, what the hell is the point in this list? How does this list on any level benefit the entire Black community? How on any level do Black people benefit from this other than being able to sit back and say, oh my God, look at Diddy, look at how he's shining, right? So you sit back and you sort of get this admiration. You're sort of sitting on the sidelines like little cheerleaders cheering on your favorite your favorite rapper, and you end up ultimately not improving your own condition. Right? You're every year you see Diddy on that same list. Every year you see Jay-Z on that same list. Every year you see Dr. Dre on that same list. Well, it's not interesting. The list isn't interesting anymore, and it's not particularly relevant for anything other than sort of giving you the equivalent of what the British have when they have the royal family. The royal family in England and the group that Meghan Markle ran away from is basically a group of people that sit around and they just make these little appearances, kind of like the Kardashians, and everyone sits back and admires the royal family. Well, there are some people in England that are really blatant anti-royalists. They're like, this is some BS, man. Like, what is this crap? Like, who cares? Who cares what you had for breakfast this morning? Don't nobody care what you're wearing this week. Nobody wants to sit around and watch you live your lavish life while we out here struggling. What is looking at you going to somehow lighten my struggle? Or are you an opioid for the masses? Let me say it again. Or are you an opiate for the masses where I'm just going to feel better about my shitty life because I'm sitting here watching you live a wonderful life and I get to fantasize about that, right? Now, if you don't believe me, think about this. Think about how popular certain shows are. Anybody remember MTV Cribs and shows like that? They have other shows like that too. But MTV Cribs, if you ever want to get 1 million Black viewers on a show, one thing you could do is this. Get wealthy Black folks like a Tyler Perry to give you a tour of their home and show you how many cars they got, how big their swimming pool is, how nice their kitchen is, right? Like, we're fascinated by these things. Now, this is not a knock on the individuals that have all that wealth. That's their thing. That's good for them. God bless them for that. But it really kind of speaks to this fundamental question I'm going to ask you, and this isn't a question for intelligent Black people in the room, is what's the damn point? What's the point? What do the communities get from this? Like, what do the masses benefit from watching these people every year parade what they have. I'm not trying to make fun of them. I'm not trying to say they don't deserve what they have, that they didn't work for it. But this is not in any way reflective of the reality for the majority of black folks. This is not even reflective of the reality of most people who become self-made millionaires. Most self-made millionaires I know did not get there by busting raps for white people. Most self-made millionaires I know did not get there by putting out a record and having a bunch of white kids buy their record. Like, seriously, that just doesn't happen very often. Most rappers I know are broke. Most rappers, including rappers that you are that you really like, that you really think have tons of money, a lot of them don't have any money at all. And so I would almost argue to you, and you're not going to change it. You can't change the culture. There's always stupid people will never go away. There will always be more stupid people than smart people, and that's the way it is. But one thing I will tell you is that if you're not a person that's asleep, if your goal is to be awake, first of all, you're going to be in the minority. You're going to end up annoying people. I annoy everyone because I'll be sitting there looking at something. Everybody will get excited. I'll be like, actually, what's really going on is this, this, and this. And it's not fun. I learned how to shut that down because when I do, I end up hurting people's feelings. So I just quietly sit back and pretend like I'm asleep too, but really I'm like this. I got one eye open. But the reality is that most of what you're seeing isn't designed to do anything other than perpetuate the status quo. And the status quo is they win, you lose. The status quo is, let's stare at the royalty so that we're blinded to the situations all around us. The status quo is let's all inject the opioid of the masses, right? Let's inject these opiates so that the opiates will numb us to the realities of what we're dealing with and what we're facing and where our true opportunities actually lie. So what I'll say is that here's the deal. And do me a favor, actually. Please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button. And if you guys would like to help us spread intelligent black media throughout the world, we're growing every day. We would love to have you as a patron at intelligentblackpeople.com. That's intelligentblackpeople.com. That's the URL. So feel free to go to intelligentblackpeople.com after you're done here, if you could. What this is that list of rappers on that Forbes list. It's a lot like the Hunger Games. The Hunger Games was basically a situation where their goal was to control the masses, right? And the way they controlled the masses was they would take a small percentage of people from the masses, one or two people out of thousands, and they would elevate these people to a higher status and treat them better than everybody else. They would treat them like royalty. They would put them in the fanciest clothes, and they would be paraded around to the different sectors of poor people as inspiration, like the Obamas, right? As inspiration to get the masses to basically just sort of commit to the system, right? They would be cheering for the people who look just like them, who are in an elevated status, and they would say, my God, if I work hard enough, one day that can be me too, right? So effectively what's happened is your athletes have been put in that position of the Hunger Games, paraded to you as inspiration that if you behave, if you commit to the system, then one day this could be you. The rappers are paraded to you on a regular basis on the covers of magazines, basically saying if you commit to the system and if you follow along and do what you're supposed to do, this could be you too. The Obamas are paraded to the masses like the Hunger Games, where basically you say, if I keep supporting the Democrats, then I get to watch them win, and I really want to just keep doing what I'm supposed to do because one day I can be a Michelle Obama, I can be a Barack, or maybe I can never be a Barack and Michelle, but I'm cheering for them. I want to see them win because when they win, I'm winning, right? Now, I'm not trying to say that you shouldn't cheer for them. I'm not trying to say you can't love them, but I'm trying to say that you have to always remember that their life is different from your life. And also, when you talk about these rappers, what's being given to you and given to our youth, which is really what's most dangerous, is they're being presented with false probabilities. False probabilities. False probabilities are like this. When I see a rapper, when I see Dr. Dre or LeBron James on TV, what makes me, if I'm 8 years old and I don't really know how the world works, a child is born with no state of mind, blind to the ways of mankind, right? So I'm a child. I'm looking at LeBron. I'm looking at Dr. Dre. Why wouldn't I think that if I work hard enough, I can be a Dr. Dre, right? It actually would probably upset me and piss me off if some teacher who cares about me comes along and says, well, the odds of actually being a LeBron James are very, very small. Most, out of 10,000 men who try to get to the NBA, maybe 2 of them, 3 of them are going to make it, and maybe 1 out of the 10,000, 1 out of the 50,000 will get a chance to be a LeBron. I don't want to hear all of that, right? Because I want to believe that my little 5'7" self, that if I work hard enough, I can one day be a LeBron James, right? So, and why wouldn't I believe that? Because, well, that is the image of black men that's always paraded to me. They're not parading doctors and lawyers and entrepreneurs to me. They're not parading that. They're not parading the real millionaires in the black community. They're parading the athletes and the entertainers. They're not parading the self-made black people in the community who are really doing well, who found their keys to success. They're parading Dr. Dre, right? They're not parading the guy who started a plastics company and is now making, $10,000 a day. They're parading Drake. Right. And I'm really so you got thousands of your brilliant black boys and a lot of your girls as well who are going in a different path, who are sitting around. Maybe they're busting raps in the studio. They're sitting in their mama's basement making music till they're 40 years old, dedicating their entire life to this dream that one day they might win the great cosmic lottery ticket called black entertainment success. It is a lottery ticket. The only difference between becoming a Drake or a Dr. Dre and winning the lottery is that it's probably easier to win the Powerball than it is to become a Dr. Dre, right? So effectively what happens is you end up making bad investments because you've been given false probabilities. You've been led to believe that your chances of success are maybe 10%, maybe 20%, maybe even 5%. If that might be a stretch, but even 5% is a huge overestimate when really your chances of success are 1/20th of 1% of 1%, right? Your chances of success might be 1 in 50,000. You think that they're 1 in 5, they're 1 in 50,000. So effectively, you have no chance to succeed at all. You have about as much of an opportunity to become a Jay-Z as you have of walking outside and getting struck by lightning 2 times in your ass on your way to church, right? It's the reality. And the thing is that when I come in and I'm the son of a bitch who comes in and actually says this to you, when I'm the one who comes in and says, actually, you got to pick a dream that's actually going to make a little more sense. People, they call you a hater. They call you a dream killer. Well, why? Well, because you know how people get high. I ain't never really got into drugs and alcohol and all that, because I remember when Malcolm X used to warn black men. He said that the white man will sell you the liquor bottle and then lock you up for being drunk, right? So I don't get into getting high, but I imagine getting high is quite fun. And you ever see somebody that gets high and they smoking or they drinking or they taking some pills or whatever, and they don't really want you to blow their high. Like if you come in with some really depressing shit or something that makes them mad, you're kind of blowing their high, and they'll be like, man, you blew my high, right? Well, in a way, that's kind of what happens, right? When you come in with a dose of reality, when you come in with a kind of truth that people don't want to hear, you're blowing their high. Because I'm spending my time getting high, hitting the crack pipe of this fantasy, of me possibly being the next Dr. Dre. And I'm smoking that pipe in my 20s. I'm smoking it in my 30s. I'm smoking it in my 40s. I got a wife now. I got kids now. I got responsibilities now, but I can't meet those responsibilities because I'm sitting around smoking the crack pipe thinking I'm going to be a 45-year-old Dr. Dre. They're going to discover me at 50 years old. Samuel Jackson got discovered when he was 42, so I might have a chance too, right? And so effectively you end up, unfortunately, if you're not careful, you can spend your life wasting your life waiting for a bus that ain't never going to drive through your neighborhood. Seriously, Dr. Dre, God bless him. But he was a lucky motherfucker, straight up. Him and Snoop, those guys just happened to be at the epicenter of the creation of gangster rap, one of the most transformative art forms in the history of the world. If Dr. Dre had not been born in South Central, I bet you anything you would not know who he is. He would be Andre Wilson, the guy down the street who just fixed your damn car. That's where he would be. Or seriously, like that. Those guys hit the cosmic lottery. And you can't get in this mindset where when they parade the lottery winners, you really think that you might win the Powerball and you should put your whole paycheck into buying Powerball tickets, because that's what you're doing when you dedicate your life to a dream that unfortunately for many black folks becomes an impossible dream. Doesn't mean you can't rap, doesn't mean you can't play basketball. You can do all those things, but you got to also think about the things that are more reliable pathways to getting you what you want. Now, I want to say thank you. Please hit the thumbs up button real quick. Please hit the thumbs up button. Thank you, Margaret Hudson, for your donation. donation. I appreciate you very much. Anybody who has a business, if you make a donation to the chat, do at least $10 and I'll give you free advertising. So how about this? We'll make a deal. You do at least $10 in the chat, put the name of your business, I'll cite the name of your business. So you won't get cheaper advertising. There's no other place you can advertise on a platform that has hundreds of thousands of people for $10. But we'll make that easy trade. I don't want to make it hard for you, but I'm not going to give you a bunch of stuff for free either, because y'all give money to white people. Y'all need to give money to black businesses too. All right, so Margaret Hudson says, hello, Dr. Watkins. I'm so glad you are hipping black folks to this real the real ends, e.g. P.T. Barnum exploitation quotes, there is a sucker born every day. That's true. That's true. And I'll say this, it doesn't mean you can't have dreams and fantasies and things that you're excited about, but it does mean that you have to kind of think about, where the opportunities really are and where they're not. Here's one advantage that black women have over black men. Let me tell you an advantage that the sisters have over the brothers. One advantage that the black females have over men, or they have actually two key advantages. One is that this is why I could do a whole video about this. The reason that you see the women doing better than the men in a lot of ways, there's reasons related to systematic racism and all that, but I'm gonna talk about a fundamental reason. Has anybody ever heard the saying that we raise our daughters and spoil our sons, or something like that? It's something like that, right? Or we raise our daughters and love our sons, or something, right? Where does that come from? This idea that you are hard on the girls, but you're easy on the boys, right? Where does that come from? Well, that comes from the fact that if you look at 76% of all black households, in terms of who the children are seeing on a daily basis, they're usually seeing the mother more likely than the father. Doesn't mean fathers aren't involved. Doesn't mean fathers don't care. Black fathers, we know that there's a myth out there that we don't care about our kids. None of that's true, but we know how that works, right? So every day, and I watch this, I observe this when I see Alicia with her girls. With Alicia and the girls, they follow her around like a mother hen. Like they watch everything she does. She shows them how to wash the dishes. She shows them how to do their homework. She shows them how you're supposed to dress. She shows them how you're supposed to speak. She corrects them if she sees them doing something wrong. So they're getting this constant mentorship where they're constantly being corrected, constantly being put on path, constantly being directed to what it means to be successful. So as a result, they have straight A's. They're right on point. The list goes on and on and on. But in a lot of households, the boys don't have that. The boys have their father. He's maybe a phone call away. Maybe he lives across the town. Maybe he sees him once every 2 weeks. But the boy's not getting that daily engagement with his mentor that is honestly necessary for success. So a lot of times that's why you'll see the girls go on and do great things, especially at an early age, and the boys will sometimes be all over the place. That's one reason. That's one of my theories in terms of why you see the girls shape up a little bit better than a lot of our boys. And that's also another testament to why we need the fathers around somehow, some way. We must learn to reconstruct and rebuild our relationships. Second reason why this is the world according to Boyce Watkins. So I don't pretend like this is 100% correct. I'm just laying this out here for your consideration. Thank you for hearing me on this point. Another reason that the girls tend to do better than the boys, in my opinion, is that the girls don't have the curse of extreme athletic and entertainment opportunity that's constantly being marketed to them on a daily basis. Like the girls don't grow up seeing LeBron James and wanting to be LeBron James, right? The girls don't have that. The WNBA's out there, but that's not really that big. There aren't that many great big stars. That's not something that most girls are leaning toward, right? Usually girls are not tempted by this idea that says, well, I ain't got to do my homework because one day I'm going to be in the NBA. How often do you hear a little girl, a 9-year-old girl say, well, I ain't going to do my homework because I'm going to be in the NFL one day? That ain't going to happen, right? You don't see that with little girls. So little girls don't have that temptation that drives them away from the core values that will make them successful. If a little girl was saying something that crazy, like think about this. You go in a little classroom of fourth graders and you ask the boys, how many of y'all are going to be professional athletes? Like 80% of the boys will raise their hand, right? How many of y'all going to be football players, basketball players, or rappers? Like the whole damn class will raise their hand, right? You ask the girls that question, maybe you get like one girl, maybe like a little young MA type girl in the back or something, but for the most part, the girls aren't going to say yes to a question like that. So the girls are not seduced away from the real stuff in exchange for the fake stuff. The boys get seduced. The boys get sucked away from the imagery of Dr. Dre, the imagery of Diddy, the imagery of LeBron, the imagery of their favorite athlete or entertainer, right? And that makes them think, okay, this is my pathway. This is how I'm going to get big. This is how I'm going to get out of the hood. This is how I'm going to be shining one day. This is how I'm going to get money, right? And there ain't no money in none of that. Like, there's no money. Like, 99% of all basketball players never make a penny playing basketball. 99% of all rappers never make a penny busting raps. And even if they make a little bit of money, the money doesn't last very long. Most rappers, a large percentage of rappers are broke, even when they appear to be famous. So black boys are being sucked into this black hole of false opportunity that ends up destroying them, and it takes away their ability to focus on anything else, or their desire. How about this? Their desire to focus on anything else. That is what you call opportunity cost. Opportunity cost says, if I spend my time going down that road, I can't spend no time going down this road. If I spend my time on picking up this particular skill, I don't get to spend any time working on that skill. How can I work on two skills at the same time? If I choose to be a baseball player, that cuts into the time I can spend becoming a football player, right? So or if I go and date that woman, then it's hard for me to go and also have a full-fledged relationship with that woman, right? So basically, a lot of your sons get sucked away into this fantasy land, and they're sucking on the crack pipe of false opportunity and false hope that's causing them to eat away at these hoop dreams. You saw the movie Hoop Dreams. That end up, unfortunately, undermining their ability to become adequate husbands and fathers down the road. So part of the curse of all this mass marketing of these hoop dreams is that it creates the impression that the door is this big, the door of opportunities is big, when really it's a tiny little sliver that only a couple people can get in. So think about this. It's almost like Popeye's Chicken marketing and saying, everybody come get a chicken sandwich because the chicken sandwiches are great and we're giving them away for free on Tuesday. Think about this. Imagine this. Tell me this. What would happen if tomorrow Popeye said, on Tuesday, we will be giving free chicken sandwiches out nationwide? How many Negroes would show up if Popeye's Chicken said, we're giving away free chicken sandwiches on Tuesday, right? They would literally have like a line down the street, up the block, and around the corner, right? And that would last 2 weeks long. But imagine if they made that promotion, made that promise that we're going to give away free chicken sandwiches, and then you get to the store and they're like, oh no, we were only going to give away five sandwiches per location, right? Restaurants do this, actually. A lot of companies do this. It might be called a bait and switch, but these sorts of promotions happen all the time. So what happens? Well, so then they might say, oh, but we're out of our chicken sandwiches that we were giving away for free. But since you're here, did you look at our chicken salad? Or since you want a sandwich, you could still go ahead and buy one. They're only $3, right? That's how they get you in the door. So a lot of times these false opportunities get black men distracted from the things that they could be doing and should be doing, and overcommitted to the things that aren't going to work. And then you get there and you find out that this opportunity that you thought that would be available for everybody is actually only available for one guy out of every 10,000. So what happens to the other 9,999? Well, if you want to find out, then go to the local liquor store, because there's probably sitting outside a local liquor store in your neighborhood some dude who used to be the best basketball player on his high school team. Or if you go down and you look at the homeless shelter, you're going to find some guy who used to be an extraordinary football player, but he got so much brain damage that his head ain't working right. Or if you go down to the local crack house, you might find some guy who got, because of the brain damage, he started using the drugs in order to ease the pain, and now he's been hooked on drugs and hooked on dope for the last 20 or 30 years. These men could have been somebody's father. They could have been somebody's husband. They could have been a leader in the community, but they didn't spend time developing those skills because they spent time investing in the false illusion, the false promise, the false hope, sucking on the crack pipe of false probability, right? So ultimately, what's the solution? It's multifaceted. I'm not going to go into that too much because I've already taken a lot of your time, but I will say at the end of the day, you need to at least begin. The first step towards solving the problem is to see what's around you and see what's happening, what's going on, how's the system working. And a lot of what you're seeing, like, so you talk about these rappers on the Forbes list. Honestly, I feel like that's a lot of BS. I hate that list. I really do. It bothers me now. It annoys me. Not because I'm not happy for those guys. I'm very happy for those guys. But at the end of the day, I'm thinking, what in the hell does this do to benefit the community? It does. I can't think of anything that the community gains when we see yet another rapper who's on the Forbes list, but it's the same rapper that we've seen every year for the last 10 years. I just don't know what that really does for anybody. Okay, so anyway, do me a favor. Please hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the thumbs up button, share, and subscribe button. And just a reminder, guys, our Black Millionaire Factory program with attorney Nicole Compton starts on January 29th. And basically, we're going to spend it's a 4-week program. You can go read all about it. Attorney Nicole Compton is a lawyer, so she can break down all the steps on getting your business started, getting your business to the next level, but also all the legal issues that you might run into with your business. And then I'll be there as well, providing my expertise. And also there's a lot of free curriculum and things like that, about $1,000 worth of free stuff that you get. So if you're interested in joining us for that program, you can go to, somebody please type this in. It's theblackmillionairefactory.com. That's theblackmillionairefactory.com. So let me say thank you to those of you who made donations. Thank you, KDZ. She says, great topic. And for my hip hop fans, you can find good, introspective, and unique music from me at kdzmusic.com. Now, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy this KDZ, because that's a tough word. So everybody, K-Daisy. I'm sorry, K-Daisy. Everybody's gonna misspell that, so I'm actually gonna copy and paste your comment, and I put it right back in the chat. So everybody, please go support this sister's website. I think it's a sister. I can't look at the picture. You got to forgive me. I got my better glasses. I'm not wearing those, so I can kind of see, but I can't see. Anyway, but God bless you, and thank you for your donation. Let me see. Vicky D says, thank you for sharing your passion and knowledge. I've been inspired each and every day. Check us out at VickyDoeFitness.com, a health and wellness platform. Our health is our wealth. She's 100% correct. And I'm actually going to grab that comment, and I'm going to cut and paste that back in the chat so y'all can see it. And I hope you guys that even if you couldn't, support the platform, I hope you'll at least click on the link, go visit some of these black-owned businesses and support black people. You got to support your own. It's very, very important. We're not telling you to do anything that you're not already doing for white people. If I could get black people to do 1/10 as much for black people as we do for white people, then that right there would lead to a multi-trillion-dollar wealth transfer. I'm not kidding. Like, we really are a bunch of white supremacists. Like, we really love us some white folks. So I'm not telling you to stop loving white folks. I know that's a hard habit to break, but I want you to also love black folks as much as you love white folks. That's all I'm asking you to do. So let's see. Margaret Hudson says, come on. Thank you for your support. I appreciate that. She says, come on, black folks. Let's learn how to practice and support black capitalism. That's an interesting term. That's a loaded term, Margaret. I'm going to tell you this. And let me tell you why. Capitalism is a very heavy, scary word to use, because capitalism has so many negative connotations that come from the inappropriate application of capitalism in America. Capitalism is a powerful beast, and if you don't control it, it can be used to exploit. It can be used to harm other people. And in America, that's what it's done. So rather than calling us black capitalists, I prefer to use things like black business owners, black wealth builders, black entrepreneurs, black people who believe in free enterprise. Because I'll tell you, Margaret, you can make a lot of money and do extremely well without being a hardcore capitalist. Because capitalism, unfortunately, in its purest form, and I know a lot about capitalism because that's what we used to teach at Syracuse. Capitalism in its purest form, unfortunately, is designed on a lot of greed. It's built on growth. And give me an example. Capitalism kind of says, if your business made $1 billion last year, $1 billion is not enough. If you made $1 billion last year and you make $1 billion again this year, then you might lose your job. Or why would you lose your job? Well, because you did not grow. Or let's say you made $1 billion last year and then you made $990 million this year. So you still made a gang of money. Capitalism, unfortunately, in its purest form says, oh, well, you failed because you didn't grow. You're actually a shrinking business. That's a sin in capitalism. So one thing about capitalism that is good economically is that it leads to powerful and aggressive growth. The downside is that it leads to this really sick maniacal greed that leads to the exploitation of other people, all for your own economic gain. So if you ask me, am I a capitalist? I will say not 100%. I can't be 100% capitalist. I'm a little bit socialist. I also believe in what you would call the triple bottom line for black people. I think that you can do well. Like with the Black Business School and everything that we do, we want to make money. We want to have a bigger budget. We really do, because we really want to do, we have a lot of things we want to do in the community. So I have no shame in saying, hey, you're buying worthless stuff from other people. Buy something from us. We're here for you every day. Buy something from us too. Just count us in the group. You ain't got to give us the whole budget, just a little piece of it. And so I have no problem bringing revenue in. But at the same time, we have a responsibility to take that revenue, invest it in the community, to hire black folks, create job opportunities for them, to go and build economies, to actually do our job. Right. And so that's kind of what our belief is when it comes to economics. So I'm not in any way saying that your statement is wrong. I just want to give a little nuance there, because one problem that you run into when you're in a position like mine is that you'll have people that will hear one thing that you say, and their goal is to misinterpret you as quickly as possible. Like, they literally will go out of their way to say, oh, that Negro's not broke, that Negro's doing well, that Negro's actually creating something that's working, so he must be a crook, he must be a scammer, he must be a bad person. And that's just, we know that that's not true, but at the same time, maybe some additional explanation will help those who are at least fair enough to find out the truth, to kind of know what's going on. All right, so let me see. Thank you very much, Ingrid Tater, for your donation. I appreciate you very, very much. You are loved for that. Thank you so much. And so anyway, that's it. Those were my thoughts for today. We're still here at the Weekend Wealth Summit. We're going to do another one. We actually have the URL, weekendwealthsummit.com. So we'll probably do another Weekend Wealth Summit at some point. This one went really well. It was totally sold out. There are a lot of people watching via live stream. If you want to actually catch the second day of the live stream, you can actually go to drboyceneworleans.com and join our lecture series. And I think the first month is free. So if you'd like to see the second day, which is tomorrow, you can go to drboyceneworleans.com. And also, if you want to just see all the events that we have in the Black Business School, like Black Movie Night, we're going to have an event at the Essence Music Fest. If you want to come to New Orleans for that, we got the All Black National Convention, which is going to be in October at Medgar Evers College. That's the place that it looks like we're gonna host it this year. And we got a few other things. So feel free to go to drboyceseminars.com if you want to follow some of the seminars we have. We have some digital stuff. We also have some physical stuff. So it's a lot of opportunities for you to kind of hang out and do stuff and get involved and stuff like that and be connected. All right, guys. So have a good day. Hit the thumbs up button. Please hit the subscribe, share button, and all that good stuff as well, and the notification button. And it was a really fun conversation. So I love you, and I will see you soon. Take care. Bye-bye. Peace.